Welcome back. You're here, I imagine, because you want the important stuff fast.
Exactly. Cut through the noise.
So today, we're looking at something you probably see every day now, e-bikes and e-scooters. We've got some material here that really highlights how incredibly popular they've become.
Oh, absolutely. It's easy to see why, right? Super convenient. They're kind of reshaping how people get around cities, especially for shorter journeys.
A good alternative to hopping in the car or waiting for the bus, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But this huge surge in use isn't all smooth sailing. The sources we're looking at flag a pretty serious concern.
Which is?
A definite noticeable rise in accidents involving these e-bikes and e-scooters.
Precisely. And that's the core issue, isn't it? They offer these clear benefits, convenience, maybe even environmental pluses.
Yeah.
But this rise in accidents, well, it makes you pause.
It really does. So based on what we have here, our mission, if you like, is to understand these risks better. How might they be minimized?
That's the key question prompted by the material.
So you've got this tension. On one hand, they're practical, they can be fun. On the other hand, there's this growing safety concern.
Yeah, it's a real push and pull, and the information we have really hammers home that correlation. More bikes and scooters on the streets, more incidents being reported.
Okay. It's important to note, though, this material doesn't really dive deep into why the accidents are happening or offer a checklist of solutions.
No, not at this stage. The focus is very much on identifying the trend, pointing out that increased use seems to be linked with increased accidents. That link is the main takeaway here.
Right. So let's think about that. What could be feeding into this? You see people zipping through traffic, sometimes quite fast. It makes you wonder, what are the underlying factors?
Well, it could be a whole mix of things, couldn't it? Like, are our roads actually set up for this, combination of cars, bikes, pedestrians, and these faster e-devices?
It's a big one. Infrastructure.
Oh, definitely. And then there's awareness. Do drivers know how to share the road safely with them? Do pedestrians? Do the riders themselves always understand the risks or best practices?
These are the kinds of questions that jump out when you see the problem highlighted like this, even without specific answers provided here.
Exactly. The sources frame the problem.
And, even without those specific solutions laid out, just the fact that this trend is being flagged so clearly, that tells us something important.
It really does. It signals we're in a bit of a transition phase, maybe. The initial excitement, the novelty is now meeting the practical reality of safety implications.
That makes sense. You see that often with new tech hitting the mainstream.
Yeah, it's a pretty common pattern.
So what does this mean for you listening? Well, even if this source doesn't give us a top 5 safety tips list.
Right.
Just understanding that this is an acknowledged safety concern is, well, it's a crucial starting point, isn't it? Especially if you share the road, walk on the pavement, or even ride one yourself.
Absolutely. And encourages a kind of broader thinking. As these things become, just part of the furniture in our cities, what's our collective responsibility here?
Our shared role in making things safer for everyone.
Everyone involved.
Okay, so let's wrap this up slightly. We've seen the clear appeal, the convenience, the practicality of e-bikes and scooters.
Yep, the pro side.
And then, starkly highlighted in our sources, this growing concern about accidents.
The con, or at least the major challenge, which leads directly back to that central question posed by the material. So how do we minimize the risks?
A question that hangs in the air a bit based on this info.
It does, but the information itself, by highlighting the problem, underscores a vital point. Safety has got to be front and center in the conversation as these micromobility options keep growing.
Definitely can't be an afterthought.
No way.
So here's something for you to maybe chew on after this. Think about your own town or city. When you see e-bikes and scooters around, what's your gut feeling?
Yeah, how do you perceive that balance between the convenience they offer and any potential dangers you might observe?
And even without having all the answers right now, what kind of proactive thoughts, maybe about awareness or space, could you keep in mind when you're out and about? Something to consider.